Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This episode had me on a roller coaster. We had tea being spilled left and right. KK was showing me some growth. Producers decided that they wanted to swoop in, being agents of chaos, and gave us an unnecessary, unneeded surprise ending. And I have so many thoughts. So Mert, Solyn, Nicola, and Isaiah, they're all chatting together, and you can tell Mert is still heated about the vote. Mert thinks that KK and Chris are being hypocrites. He's saying that if it's really all about the game, then why punish a friendship couple instead of the real threat? Even Isaiah said that if they really want to be strategic, they could have went after Josh and Justine. I think it's a bit silly that you have these couples compete, they end up winning, and then now they're put in a position to be vulnerable after they just won their competition. I feel like that is going against what the show is about. At the end of the day, they're not wrong for feeling upset. But if I were Chris, just don't be surprised if someone's going to come for you and take their shot when the time is right. Okay, so next we have Toby and Andrea. They're having a quick chat. And all I learned from this conversation is that she's now figuring out what decorum means. She thought it was slang. Apparently, she didn't know. And Toby is like, yeah, it's in the dictionary.
In the dictionary, where you know, like
it is but like decorum, I've never even used that in
So good for her for learning a new word. So next we have a group chat with Ty, Lucinda, Toby, and Andrea. And Ty admits to us in his confessional that he is ready to move on from his friendship couple with Lucinda. He doesn't feel like Lucinda cares much about the competition like he does. Okay, so he says that in his confessional, but he ends up saying it in front of the whole group that he wants to get out this friendship couple. That is definitely not a nice thing to say. But at the end of the day, Tyrique, he doesn't care. He doesn't give a damn about a social game. I don't blame him for doing what he does best, maneuvering somewhere else, but at least be respectful about it. They did come in dead last. He wants to put himself in a better position to actually win challenges with someone that's just as determined as him. But there's a way that you go about it. Come on now. So Justine and Josh, they go to Soul Ties and they're just having a conversation about strategy. Josh thinks that Chris and KK are comfortable, so someone has to give them a run for their money. He's unhappy about not being in a couple with Andrea, but at the end of the day, he's here to compete and win. Justine lays it out that she is perfectly fine with her and Josh working as a team. But if he wants to keep an open door with Andrea, to have allyship with another couple, he's more than welcome to do that. She's already won before. She understands how alliances work, how it is to play both sides. So she's smart. She knows exactly what she's doing. So KK and Tyrique have a little chat. And of course, he's trying to reel her back in. He opens up saying that he is vulnerable and he's not feeling great about the most recent competition because him and Lucinda came in dead last in both of the heats. So, the tables have turned. And meanwhile, when Andrea was in a bad spot and she's feeling defeated, instead of giving this girl an encouragement, he's talking about, 5-0 is crazy. Yeah, crazy. So anyways, he lays on the sweet talk saying, I vibe with you the most. I like you the most. And I already know where this conversation is going. He's trying to lay it on thick. He's trying to secure his backup plan because KK did win that competition with Chris. He wants to make sure that door is open at all times. He tries to lean in and give her a kiss. KK is apprehensive and she shuts it down real quick, like, And then Tyrique's response is, because you're in a power couple, sir. Then he piles it on talking about, I can make us more than 250,000. Trust me. All right, if that's the case, why are you here, Tyrique? Why? Child, anyways, KK doesn't want to end up sabotaging what Chris and her have been working on. They've been putting all this work in. I don't blame her. I am proud of her. This is growth, okay? This is what I call growth. Keep your eye on the prize. So everyone's getting ready for bed. Not much happening here, but except we see Chris and KK sheets moving. Not Chris suddenly showing affection now that they're in a power couple. I see what's going on here. So the next morning, the boys are doing what they do, hustling in the kitchen, One of the guys asked Mert, are you going to make breakfast? He's like, no. 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 Then he continues to walk by the boys saying, you boys look busy. You look busy. Meanwhile, Lucinda is complaining, talking about doesn't bring her breakfast, doesn't bring her anything. So later on, Lucinda and Solyn are lounging by the pool. Here comes Mert. Lucinda, hello. Why don't she want to talk to me? Hello. She's not responding. And I'm like, sir, read the room. This was so funny and so awkward. She ends up storming off, talking about she is going to go make herself some coffee. Mert is just confused. I was just confusing. You know, like I'm sorry, but these two are funny to me. Keep them on the show. I already know things are going to change between them, but we'll get there when we get there. Mert ends up sharing his grievances with Kendall in regards to what's going on with Lucinda. And Kendall had to let him know, like, she wants the princess treatment. And Buddy's like, but I'm a prince. I already know what's going on. He doesn't understand that Lucinda wants more effort, and Kendall is trying to help him out to get him to understand that you have to court her. So Kendall ends up helping Mert planning a dockside date. Am I tripping, or this was a dockside date with no food? All right, so when it comes to Mert, I can't tell if he's just immature or maybe just a little selfish, very selfish, or maybe he grew up believing that women should be the ones doing the cooking, the serving. So maybe, I don't know, I think maybe that mindset definitely shapes how he sees relationships, whether if it's culturally or maybe his own personal beliefs. It's definitely contributing to his flawed perception of how he doesn't know how to properly court a woman. And that also explains why it doesn't come naturally to him. And the little bit of effort doesn't click for him. You have people over here making crispy edge pancakes and bacon. Toby's like, hey, you're going to get something new every day. Lucinda just asked for coffee. That's it. So next we have Johnny and Andrea, and they're having a little heart to heart. Even though Andrea was in a couple with Tyrique, she just let Johnny know that she is turned off by him and she is happy to be in her couple with Johnny, but she's just a little nervous because she's hoping that he's not going to switch up on her just like Tyrique did. Johnny opens up about fatherhood, wanting to be a better man, but also he wants to work on leading with honesty and transparency. And I'm sorry, but it threw me way off when Johnny said he was 27. Johnny looks every bit of a strong 35. Johnny, let me see your birth certificate. Johnny, I might need to see your driver's license, because 27 where? Andrea shares that she's very disappointed since her and Toby did not do well in the competition. Then she tells Josh the usual lines like, oh, I just met him. I enjoy our conversations, but let's be for real. We already know her head's going to turn. Josh reassures her, letting her know that she is a top priority. So, all right, things are going good between them, so we thought. Later on in the episode, Andrea is having a conversation with Chris and Nicola, and Andrea shares with them that she finds Josh to be a little bit uptight. She's missing the excitement. Their conversations are very serious. Meanwhile, with Toby, it's very lighthearted, playful, and Andrea finds herself leaning in that direction. Interesting. So Tyrique pulls Justine for a chat, and he's still down about losing, and he wants to get out of his friendship couple with Lucinda. He just lets her know off the rip, like, I'm ready to be back on the market. She's happy in her couple with Josh, and she has a good situation going on. Justine lets Tyrique know that she is very apprehensive about the way he moves in the villa since he had a connection with KK and with Andrea also. We already know what time Tyrique is on. He's just making sure that he has Justine in his back pocket because she was a proven winner and her and Josh already won a competition. I think that Justine needs to stay where she's at, stay with Josh, and leave Tyrique alone to figure out his situation. Because honestly, if a new bombshell comes in, he's going to start cozying up to the next person, especially if they have a competitive edge. So Nicola and Garby are having a chat. Nicola confides in her, saying that she's feeling unwanted. The guys are not necessarily attracted to her. And I kind of felt bad for her in that moment. Garby's trying to give her a pep talk and say, hey, don't measure yourself by by what men think. You're beautiful, like have some confidence. You deserve happiness. You deserve love. She also encourages her to have more conversations with Chris, being that Chris did let her know that Nicola is his number 2 and she's happy about being number 2. But this is cute and all, but I'm not falling for the sympathy edit. I am not falling for the sympathy edit and the propaganda. Nicola, I'm sorry, girl, but hang in there. All right. Josh and Chris are having a conversation. He's had Andrea stolen from him not once but twice. And he's really asking himself, like, should I really be in a couple with Andrea and put myself in that situation all the time? Or just stay with Justine and just focus on competition? So lo and behold, Toby and Andrea end up sharing a kiss. She's happy. She is ecstatic. And they pan the camera over back to Chris and Josh talking. Chris is giving Josh some reassurance. I overheard Andrea talking with KK and she really likes you. But wait a minute. I distinctively remember when Andrea was opening up to Chris and KK, and that's not exactly how that conversation went down. And he acts like he overheard. Chris, you were sitting right there. You were in the conversation. Anyways, so Ariana comes in and she lets them know now it's time for the public vote. And I'm going to be quite honest, this entire public vote and this stunt and the scheme that they pulled, this entire thing was so silly. Honestly, it was stupid. It was long. It was dragged out. Solyn and Mert, Andrea and Toby, Andreina and Johnny, Tyrique and Lucinda, and Isaiah and Nicola. Personally, I'm not sure why 5 was even an option. And Andreina, girl, dramatic. Johnny and Andreina ends up being safe. Tyrique and Lucinda were safe right after. So now you have these 3 couples. They have to go stand on a heart. They have to decide as a couple if they want to open up the box. Majority wins. So Solyn and Mert, they actually did want to open up the box. Come to find out, they had a safe heart. Andrea and Toby, they decided not to open the box. They had a safe heart. So you have Isaiah and Nicola, who opt in to open the box, and they actually had the black heart. They were going to go home if they decided to open up the boxes. Since the group's consensus was to find out who would America decide to dump and send home, America ended up voting out Solyn and Mert. Solyn ends up blaming herself. She feels bad because she feels that the public persona and appeal of their couple falls on her. Mert is obviously upset because he has feelings for Lucinda. In my personal opinion, I do feel like the public did vote to dump Andrea and Toby. Andrea doesn't have a favorable appeal due to season 6, and it was more about how she acted after she left the show. And also with Toby's new. The Love Island USA, especially, it's a larger fan base. They don't keep up with UK. They're unfamiliar with him. I definitely think this was a ploy, a plot, and a scheme to keep her in the games. So that way we can have this Toby and Josh and Andrea plot of it all. And another thing that gave me a clue is all that camera time in the beginning with her and Toby and with her and Josh. And then they kept on like going back to her and her tears. Her crying, no tears. Crying, no tears. So I already know what they're doing. You can't fool me. I think what they did to Solyn and Mert was so unjust, so unfair, especially since they actually won Heat 2 of their competition. Like, none of this makes sense. So that is it for episode 6. We end up seeing a preview. We are getting more bombshells. Apparently, it's Sydney, who was Isaiah's ex from Love Island USA. And then we have another contestant. I ain't gonna lie to you, I don't remember his name, but I think he was on Too Hot to Handle and some other show. So thank you guys so much for tuning into my recap. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to make sure that I get out into the algorithm. I'm a new channel. It's a baby channel. Just help me grow. Just help me out here. But I will definitely see you for episode 7. Can't wait to see Isaiah's ex, how that's going to stir up the pot. Also saw a preview that Tyrique is trying to cozy it up to Justine, and Chris is trying to cozy and canoodle his way to Nicola. But are we surprised? Absolutely not. Until then, thank you again for watching. Bye.